Okay, I think we actually finished well on this. Again, proximal goals, close-in goals. If I'm trying to lose 10 pounds in the next 2 months, then I want to lose 5 pounds a month or about a pound a week, right? A little bit more. So I keep track of what I'm doing. I probably won't get on the scale every day, but maybe every Sunday morning I'll get on the scale and see how I'm doing and look at what I've done in the past week, what I ate, keep track of what I'm eating in my exercise routine, see how that affects the scale, and next week I might adjust my plan accordingly. Okay. The last part of the 5 steps is this idea of maintaining flexibility. They say keep our options open. One of the reasons why we want to keep our options open is way back in one of the first slides, we have these pitfalls that says it impedes change or prevents or slows adaptation. When we have options open, then we're overcoming some of that negative part of planning. We also want to keep our slack resources. What does that slack resources mean? It means that we're not working everyone at 100%, which isn't typical of most companies I worked for. Most projects I've been on actually have not had slack resources, or if they have, they haven't really told us about them, so that we keep on working towards a goal that that might not have been as realistic as it should be. Now, this next slide talks about the importance of working from the top, which is, I don't know if, I guess you can't see my pointer, but it's the vision and the mission of the company that is given to us by our top managers, and that filters down into tactical plans, operational plans, standing plans, and single-use plans. What's a single-use plan? A single-use plan might be a production plan for a week, and that might change. Sorry for the interruption. So we'll get down into what each of those are. Whoa, here we go. So we're starting at the top, right? Strategic plans are what our top managers are doing. I'm not sure what my camera is doing. I guess I move in, it moves in. So this is our strategic plans are what our CEOs and COOs and these guys are making. They're looking at a 2 to 5 year window, so not immediately, but 2 to 5 years out. And we want to position ourselves so we're effective, effective competitor, and we're meeting our customers' needs. Hopefully, we're being proactive at meeting our customers' needs. Purpose of statement, a statement of company's purpose or reason for existing. Again, we've talked about mission statements before, I believe. If we're not, we're going to talk about them soon. Strategic objective, a more specific goal that unifies company-wide efforts, stretches, and challenges the organization, and possesses a finish line and a time frame. Sometimes, actually, I haven't been in a lot of companies, even IBM didn't have these strategic objectives, which was a company-wide type of purpose-driven thing. So even though we're going to talk about it here, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. One of my jobs, I think, is to make sure it's applicable. I can see how this would be a great thing. And maybe if you work for a smaller company, a strategic objective for the whole company-wide organization might be something that's more easier to come by. But when I was working for IBM, it was just too big to have a specific strategic objective that was relevant and useful to the whole company. Even Varian, when I was working for Varian, it didn't. They're a little bit smaller, but anyway. Bending in the middle. I don't know if I like the title of that slide. And here we are talking about tactical plans. And this is now we're looking at the resources that our company has to meet the objectives of our mission or the strategic objective. The time frame, and this is again for middle managers, now we're looking between that gap from 6 months to 2 years. Executives are looking at 2 years to 5 years. Middle managers, 6 months to 2 years. So some of the things that we're looking for are employee. How many employees do we want on the ground working towards whatever we're working for? That might be something that I'm interested in as a middle manager. We might also be looking at developing talent for the upcoming years. Who's in our management stream? Are they going to be able to fit our needs for the future? If not, how do we recruit the people that we need? The next topic is this managed by objectives, which I've seen done in most of the large companies I worked for. And what really happens is we sit down with our managers and we discuss possible goals, and then we look at those goals and make sure that they filter up. So if I am a director of some portion of a plant, then I have goals that I'm going to set that are in accordance with my plant manager's goals. And his goals are in accordance with his regional manager goals, and whose goals are specifically correlated to the mission of the company. So these are the objectives. These are how we align our objectives to make sure that whatever goals we're working towards, again, effective means that we're achieving things that help our company move in the direction it needs to move. So we discuss these goals, we make sure that they're in line, and we're setting them together. I'm as a report to my director. So maybe I'm a first line manager of a product line at Varian Medical Systems, or maybe I am the purchasing manager. So I'm selecting goals with my VP, and we're agreeing on the goals. We agree on the timelines, on the key performance indicators that will tell us whether I achieve my goals or not. We'll look at how quickly I can do it. What's a solid, if you're competent, how can you get it done in this time? Yeah. So what's a stretch goal? So if I'm really good, and is there going to be money associated with being really good? That type of things. So management by objectives. I know this is a really quick overview. There's books written about management by objectives, and it's a very useful tool. Okay, finishing at the bottom. There are operation plans, which are single-use plans, standing plans, which are policies, procedures, rules, and regulations, and then we have budget planning. And sometimes the most interesting conversations happen during budget planning when various managers have agreed upon goals with their managers, because we're using management by objectives. But that requires resource allocation, and now we find out what the budget really is, and maybe I'm worried that I won't have the resources I need to make the goals that I've already set. A policy is something like just a standing rule. It's different than a rule because it's not imposed by an outside source. We could even say rules are laws. And then we have regulations that we need to worry about, which are also kind of like laws. Regulations are more, if you break this regulation, we're going to give you a fee and hurt you that way. Laws are more like, if you break this law, then you go to jail type of thing. A procedure is a step-by-step on how we do something. A policy is, given this situation, this is how we respond. So a policy would be, if you find something that you think is an unsafe work environment, you stop work in that environment, stop the line, whatever you have to do, to give it time to make it a safe environment. That'd be a policy. Or a policy in the supply chain world would be, if I'm a buyer, I don't accept gifts from my suppliers that are worth more than $40 in a quarter. So if they give me tickets to the Jazz game, great, as long as it's not on the floor, right? So there are policies that we go by that just keep us in track with. Usually they help us so that we don't break regulations or rules. It gives us some buffer room between them. Okay, I think I'm going to stop here, and then we'll pick up with rational decision making in part 3.